Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen, I need you to sit down for this one, because what is happening in Flint, Michigan right now is not a celebrity story. It is not a gossip story. It is not a she said, he said story. This is a story about 700 families about to lose the only thing keeping them off the street, and one boxing champion who walked into a government building, allegedly cursed out the staff, and demanded the city hand her grandmother's house back for free while 700 of her own neighbors got nothing. That's right, Claressa Shields, the $8 million girl, the face of Flint, the woman who tells the world she is favored by God. Y'all, the story you are about to hear is not the one trending on the timeline. Everybody else is dunking on the wig. Everybody else is screaming about the Gucci. I'm here to tell you what nobody else is bothering to say, because this mess, and I mean mess with capital letters, deserves a deep dive that actually counts the bodies. So buckle in. Actually, scratch that, don't buckle in. Stand up. Get mad with me. Because by the end of this video you are going to understand exactly why this is bigger than Claressa, bigger than the mayor, and bigger than $7,000 in back taxes on a house in a city that has already been bled dry twice over. Let me set the scene for you, because the clip going viral skips the part that actually matters. A man walks up to a public board meeting in Flint. Calm, composed, leather jacket, shirt tucked in. He is not screaming. He is not name-calling. He is reading receipts. He stands up and he says, plain as day, that 700 individuals in the city of Flint are about to have their homes taken because of tax delinquency. 700. Let that number land in your chest for a second. 700 grandmas. 700 working dads. 700 single mothers. 700 porch lights about to go dark. 700 Thanksgiving dinners about to vanish. 700 Christmas trees about to be packed into garbage bags. And he says there are only 2 legal ways to get those properties back. Door number 1, the mayor of the city personally gives the property back. Door number 2, the property gets bought back on the steps of the county building during a tax sale, just like everybody else has to do. 2 doors. Same 2 doors for everybody. Or so the law claims. Then the brother drops the bomb. He alleges, and I want to be clear, this is his allegation on a public record, that Claressa Shields, who has branded herself as a neighborhood hero, a champion of the people, a daughter of Flint, is getting preferential treatment through door number 1. He alleges that the mayor of Flint did not simply hand her the property back, because that would be too obvious. Instead, the mayor allegedly picked up the phone and called the treasurer, Tom Muma, and the executive director, Michael Freeman, and asked them to personally make sure Claressa could retain her grandmother's tax-delinquent property. A property the speaker says is roughly $7,000 in the red, sitting unpaid for somewhere around 3.5 years. And here is where it goes from political to personal. The speaker alleges this favor is in exchange for Claressa campaigning for the mayor. Quid pro quo. Y'all hear me? In a city where 700 neighbors are about to be erased from the tax rolls, this man is alleging that one celebrity got a side door, a back door, and a velvet rope, all because she put a microphone in front of her face and told her followers to vote a certain way. That is not a wig story. That is a corruption story. That is the kind of story that, in another era, would have a Pulitzer attached to it before sundown. And it gets worse, because the brother does not stop there. He says Claressa allegedly called the Treasury Department directly and was verbally abusive to the staff. Verbally abusive. Not impatient. Not frustrated. Verbally abusive. He says she specifically named the executive director Michael Freeman as her man, who was supposed to get this done. Picture that for 1 second. You are a city worker. You are making maybe $45,000 a year. You are answering phones for a department that is drowning under 700 tax foreclosures. And the loudest voice on the line is a celebrity with an $8 million contract demanding you hand her a house she has not paid the property taxes on in 3.5 years. And she is yelling, and she is naming names, and she is reminding you who she is. Tell me that does not turn your stomach. Tell me you would not have walked into the back office and cried in the bathroom. Tell me you would not have called your mama on break and said, "You are not going to believe what just happened to me at work today." Tell me you would not have looked at the framed picture of Claressa on the wall of the rec center where your kid plays basketball and felt your soul fall an inch. Now here is the part that lit my fuse. The Supreme Court has already ruled federally, that it is unlawful for a government to seize a property over tax delinquency and keep the surplus. The country is still trying to metabolize that ruling. Flint is still trying to metabolize that ruling. 700 families are still trying to metabolize that ruling. And while all of that is unfolding, in the middle of a city that watched its water turn brown, in the middle of a city that buried children because of lead pipes, in the middle of a city that has been kicked while it was down for over a decade, one alleged phone call from a mayor to a treasurer can apparently jump the line. One celebrity tantrum can apparently jump the line. One political favor can apparently jump the line. But Granny Jackson on Saginaw Street? Granny Jackson is in line. Mr. Williams on the north side? Mr. Williams is in line. The senior citizen who skipped her blood pressure medicine to pay her water bill? She is in line. And nobody, and I mean nobody, is calling the treasurer for them. That is the story. That is the actual story. And that is the story the timeline is missing while everybody fights over the wig. So let's get into the mess nobody else seemed to catch. Because once you see the 700, you cannot unsee the 700. You start asking questions. You start adding up numbers. You start connecting dots that powerful people in Flint were really hoping nobody would connect. Question 1. Why this property and why now? The speaker says Claressa's grandmother's house has been delinquent for about 3.5 years. 3.5 years. We are talking roughly $7,000 in unpaid taxes. $7,000 for a woman who, by her own bragging, just signed an $8 million deal. Y'all, do the math with me right now. $7,000 is less than 0.1% of $8 million. That is the price of a single Birkin strap. That is the price of one Vegas weekend. That is the price of one custom wig with the lace done right. And we are supposed to believe that a champion who walks around telling kids she is favored by God could not write a check, drop it off at the treasurer's window, smile at the staff, and walk her grandmother's deed home like a regular human being? Nah, the math is not mating. The math has never mated. The math is over there in the corner crying. Question 2. Why call the mayor at all? Because if you are a celebrity with an $8 million bag, you do not need a favor. You do not need a phone call. You do not need somebody to get this done for you. You need a checkbook in 20 minutes. The only reason you call the mayor is if the favor is the point. The only reason you call the executive director is if cutting the line is the point. The only reason you yell at staff is if reminding them who you are is the point. The favor is the prize. The favor is the proof. The favor is the receipt that says you are different from the other 699. The favor is the photo op you cannot take, the trophy you cannot lift, the belt you cannot wear in public, but you can still feel it on your hip when you walk past your neighbors. Question 3. What did the mayor get out of it? Because mayors do not pick up the phone for free. Mayors do not call treasurers for free. Mayors do not bend a process that is supposed to be blind. The speaker said it on the record, campaigning. He alleges Claressa campaigned for the mayor, and in exchange the mayor allegedly bent the process. I am not a lawyer. I am not a judge. I am telling you what was said in a public meeting, on camera, in front of the board. And if even half of it is true, this is the kind of small-town quid pro quo that built the Rust Belt's reputation for backroom politics. A handshake here, a phone call there, a property line redrawn, a neighbor erased. Multiply that by 20 years of City Hall, and you understand why Flint looks the way Flint looks. Now let me hold on real quick, because I can already hear it in the comments. But Claressa is from Flint. Okay, and? But Claressa put Flint on the map. Okay, and? But Claressa is favored by God. Okay, so is Granny Jackson. So is Mr. Williams. So is the woman crying in the parking lot of the Treasury office because she missed one payment after her husband died. God did not put a stamp on Claressa's forehead that says skip the line. If you are favored by God, then favor looks like paying the $7,000 and asking the clerk, with respect, "Ma'am, who else in this office is close to losing their property, and how can I help?" Favored by God does not look like cursing out the staff. Favored by God does not look like name-dropping the executive director. Favored by God does not look like using your celebrity to cut a single mother of 3 in line. Favored by God is a verb, not a brag. And listen, I want to give Claressa her flowers where flowers are due. The woman is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. The woman is a world champion. The woman has done what most of us could not do in 10 lifetimes inside a boxing ring. That is real. Nobody can take that. But greatness in the ring does not buy you a pass at the treasurer's window. Greatness in the ring does not buy you the right to yell at a clerk who is just trying to feed her kids. Greatness in the ring is not a currency you can use to pay a $7,000 tax bill. The bell rings, you leave the gold inside the ropes, and you walk back into the world where everybody else has to follow the rules. That is the deal. That has always been the deal. Greatness does not exempt you from grace. Here is where the story flips, and here is where I want every Flint resident watching this to lean in. Because the speaker said something that should be plastered on every billboard in Genesee County. He said if Claressa was a true celebrity, if Claressa truly loved Flint, she would not be in that office begging for a handout. She would be in that office writing a check for somebody else. She would be saying, "Give me the list. Who is at 5,000? Who is at 4,000? Who is at 7,000? Let me peel off 10 of these names. Let me pay 10 of these tax bills out of pocket. Let me put my $8 million bag where my Flint loyalty mouth is." That is what a champion of the people looks like. That is what favored by God actually means. Not skipping the line, lifting the line. Imagine what that day looks like. Imagine if instead of allegedly cursing out the staff, Claressa walked into that office on a Tuesday morning with a folder and a pen. Imagine if the local news got tipped off, and the cameras caught her sitting down with a senior citizen and saying, "Ma'am, your house is paid for. Go home. Take your medicine. Hug your grandbabies." Imagine the headlines. Imagine the legacy. Imagine the merchandise. Imagine the documentary. Imagine the way an entire city would have wrapped itself around her like a championship belt. She would have been untouchable. She would have been a legend off the canvas, as well as on it. Nike would have called. Netflix would have called. Oprah would have called. A statue conversation would have started in city council by the end of the quarter. Instead, allegedly, she called the mayor. And the mayor allegedly called the treasurer. And 700 people allegedly stayed at the bottom of the list. Let me pause and read the room with you. Because I know there is a part of you watching this who is rolling her eyes at me right now. Tisa, you are doing too much. It is just a house. It is just $7,000. Sis. Sir. No. It is not just a house. It is the principle. It is the precedent. Because if Claressa gets her grandmother's house back through a side door, then every other politician in Flint with a celebrity ally is going to remember how it worked. Every fundraiser is going to come with a wink. Every endorsement is going to come with a favor attached. Every campaign cycle in this city is going to be a transaction. And the people who pay the price are not the celebrities. They never are. The people who pay the price are the grandmas who do not know how to file an appeal. The veterans who do not know how to read a tax notice. The single moms who fell behind one quarter and lost everything. The 700. Always the 700. Let me get even more specific, because the numbers in this case tell their own story when you stack them next to each other. 700 properties. 3.5 years of delinquency on one alleged favored property. Roughly $7,000 in back taxes on that one alleged favored property. $8 million sitting on the table of a fresh contract. One mayor. One treasurer named Tom Muma. One executive director named Michael Freeman. One alleged phone call. One verbally abused front desk. 0 apologies. 0 press conferences. 0 town halls scheduled to explain to the other 699 why one name might float to the top of the list. And in the middle of all of that math, you have a Supreme Court decision that just rewrote the rules of who owns what after a tax foreclosure. Stack those numbers like dominoes. Now flick the first one. That is the chain reaction Flint is sitting on right now, and the people pretending it is just a wig story are the ones who are going to look the most foolish when the dominoes finally land. Now back to the meeting room, because I want you to understand the body language. The brother in the leather jacket is calm. He has the receipts. He says on record that he has forwarded all of the communications. He says he wants the board to be aware that there is going to be outside activity, because the alleged corruption is not going to be unaddressed any longer. He is not yelling. He is not throwing chairs. He is delivering a controlled, surgical, public records style intervention. And then the executive director, Michael Freeman, is right there in the room. The speaker turns and acknowledges him, looks at him, lets the air sit. And in that pause, every single person watching the live stream understands what just happened. The mask got pulled. The favor got named. The favoree got named. The favor got named. And it is all on tape. There is no walking it back. There is no spin. There is no narrative recovery. The receipts are in the public record, and the public record does not blink. That is the moment the internet got hold of. That is the clip that started traveling. And from there it became the wig conversation, the Gucci conversation, the Caboose conversation, the $8 million conversation. All valid, all entertaining, all beside the point. Because while we were laughing about a crooked wig, the 700 were still on the list. They are still on the list right now, while you are watching this video. Some of them are watching this video too. And they are not laughing. They are scared. They are calling their kids. They are pulling their tax bills out of the kitchen drawer. They are asking each other, if Claressa can get a phone call, why can't I? Let me give you the legal lay of the land, because this is where it gets even hotter. The Supreme Court ruling I mentioned earlier, that is real. In Tyler versus Hennepin County, the Supreme Court held that the government cannot take more than what you owe in a tax foreclosure. You owe $7,000. The government cannot keep the $80,000 of equity sitting in your grandmother's house. That ruling changed the entire game for the Rust Belt because cities like Flint, Detroit, and Saginaw had spent decades stripping equity from delinquent owners. Now, suddenly, the math has flipped. Suddenly, every name on that list of 700 has a real legal claim to the surplus. Suddenly, every property that gets sold on the courthouse steps has new federal sunlight on it. And in the middle of that legal revolution, you have an alleged phone call from a mayor to a treasurer asking for one specific name to get one specific favor. Do you see the timing? Do you see the optics? Do you see the trapdoor this opens for everybody else? Because if one name can be lifted off that list with a phone call, then a class action lawyer in Detroit is licking his lips right now. If one name can be lifted off that list with a phone call, then the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has a new file to open. If one name can be lifted off that list with a phone call, then the next mayor of Flint is going to inherit a hurricane. This is not just a Claressa story. This is a structural story. This is a story about who gets saved and who gets sold. And once a federal eye lands on Flint over this, and trust me, federal eyes are already wandering, the alleged phone call becomes evidence in a paper trail nobody at City Hall is ready to defend. And here is what really gets me. The speaker, the brother in the leather jacket, at the very end of his 3 minutes, he does something almost nobody on the internet has acknowledged. He addresses the executive director directly. He says, "Nice to meet you," with full respect. He thanks the board for their time. He does not curse. He does not threaten. He simply puts the receipts on the table and walks back to his seat. That is what accountability with manners looks like. That is what civic love looks like. That is what a son of Flint looks like when he is fighting for 700 neighbors he will probably never meet. He is not asking for a microphone. He is not asking for a podcast deal. He is not asking for a verified check mark. He is asking for the line to be honored. Compare that to the alleged scene at the treasurer's office. Compare that to the alleged phone calls. Compare that to the alleged demands. And ask yourself, honestly, which one of these two people sounds more like a champion of Flint? Now, before I wrap this up, I want to talk to Claressa directly. If by some miracle this video makes its way onto your timeline, sis, hear me out. This is not about your wig. This is not about your Gucci. This is not about your Corvette. This is not even about Caboose. This is about the fact that you have a once-in-a-generation platform in a city that has been broken for a decade, and right now the world is watching to see if you use that platform to lift or to skip. If the allegations are wrong, prove it. Pull up your receipts. Show the canceled check. Show the tax stamp. Show the deed. Show us that you paid your $7,000 the same way Granny Jackson would pay her $7,000 if she could. Get in front of this. Be the role model you keep telling us you already are. And if the allegations carry even a little weight, then for the love of every kid in Flint who has your poster on the wall, write the check, apologize to those city workers, and then go pay off 10 more houses while the cameras are still rolling. Turn the embarrassment into a movement. That is what favored by God actually looks like. That is what a real Flint legend does. The ring you fight in next is not in Vegas. It is in your own neighborhood, and the bell has already rung. To everybody else watching, here is what I am asking. Stop letting the wig conversation drown out the 700. Stop letting the Gucci conversation drown out the 700. Stop letting the celebrity drama be the only drama you remember. Pull up the names. Pull up the list. Call your council member. Call the treasurer's office. Ask them on record how many Flint properties are about to be foreclosed for tax delinquency in this cycle, and what the surplus equity in those properties looks like, and what the city is doing post-Tyler versus Hennepin to make those families whole. If you live in Flint, show up to the next board meeting. Sit where the brother in the leather jacket sat. Read your own receipts. The mic is open. The cameras are on. The Supreme Court already gave you the ammunition. Use it. Bring a friend. Bring your auntie. Bring the deacon. Bring the neighbor who has been crying since the foreclosure notice landed in her mailbox last month. Because at the end of the day, this story is not about a celebrity ducking $7,000. It is about a city that has been ducked on for 30 years. It is about Flint kids who grew up drinking poisoned water, watching their parents lose homes, watching their schools close, watching their hospitals shrink, and now watching one of their own, allegedly, get a backdoor pass that none of them will ever get. And it is about the brother in the leather jacket who refused to let that slide. He is the actual story. He is the one who deserves the flowers. He is the one who showed up on a Tuesday and decided to be inconvenient on behalf of 700 neighbors he did not have to fight for. Whatever his name is, write it down. Remember it. Tag him in the comments if you know him. That is the kind of energy that turns a city around. That is the kind of energy that should be running for something one day, if he ever decides he wants to. So that is where I land. The wig is funny. The Gucci is funny. The Corvette is funny. Caboose is funny. But the 700 are not funny. The corruption is not funny. The alleged phone call is not funny. The verbally abused staff is not funny. And the precedent that one favor sets for the next 10 years of Flint politics is the least funny thing in this entire timeline. Laughter is a beautiful tool, but laughter without accountability is just noise. And Flint has had enough noise. I am going to be covering this story. I am going to be calling the treasurer's office on Monday. I am going to be looking up the public records for myself. If a property changes hands quietly, I want to know. If a tax stamp shows up suspiciously, I want to know. If the 700 shrinks to 699 because one name disappeared off the list, I want to know, and I want all of you to know. I will pin the documents. I will post the receipts. I will sit in the comments with you and read them together if I have to. So drop a comment. Tell me if you live in Flint. Tell me if your family is on that list. Tell me if you know the brother in the leather jacket. Tell me what you think Claressa should do next. Tell me what you think the mayor should do next. And if this video helps somebody in your group chat finally understand the real story, share it. Because the wig conversation will fade in a week. But the 700 is still going to be on that list when the cameras leave. That is it for me. I love y'all. Stay loud. Stay informed. Stay on the side of the 700. And whatever you do not let the spectacle steal the story. Protect the porch lights. Honor the line. Count the 700. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.